What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York calling from the altar again, and this time we are here with Bruce of Yakuza. It is great to be able to talk with you. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime, man, anytime. It's so awesome to have you here. The new album, Sutra, the first Yakuza album that we've gotten in over a decade because the last album, Bail, came out in 2012. So did this just feel like almost like a natural continuation of Bail in a way? Or being that it's been so long, it's almost kind of like a new beginning for Yakuza?
I wouldn't say it's a continuation of Bayul, but I also wouldn't say it's a new beginning as well. There's still some tendencies from throughout our time on this. It's its own thing, but yet it's still part of the Yakuza legacy.
Was there sort of like a preconceived vision of what you wanted this to sound like in a way, or was this like a very improvisational songwriting process?
Oh, it was not preconceived, but it's not an improvisational process that we use. We started working on this record in 2018 when our new bass player Jerome Marshall joined the band, and he is an equal songwriter. And so if there's any difference from previous albums, that would be the first place I would start, is with his contributions to Yakuza at this time.
And being that you've been working on this since 2018, is what we're going to hear on this album how these songs were originally structured and how they originally came out, or did they sort of change a lot over a span of time?
They didn't change a lot. Everything that we do, our process, we start with the kind of the riffs and the rhythms, and then we just kind of build from there. So those riffs and rhythms kind of came up kind of out of the gate, and then you just kind of refine the songs over time, and then to what we have now.
Because you have like so many different elements from the riffs to the rhythm, and then you bring in many different woodwinds in there as well. Does it always start off the same way, or does it kind of like with the improvisational question in a way, can like one thing lead to another depending on what you start off with?
It almost always starts with the riffs and the rhythms. There's a lot of breathing room to have some improvisational elements within that as well, too, especially for me with the horn and some of the vocal lines and things like that. But we try to create some kind of a base and then work from there,
And with using both the saxophone but also being a vocalist, I've always said that like you guys kind of have a similar principle in a way as Hanoi Rocks, not in terms of sound, but like in terms of like the way that you are able to incorporate those elements. Do you express a similar side of yourself with the saxophone and the vocals, or are they two completely separate sides of who you are?
No, I would say that they come from the same person, just like Michael Monroe. And thanks for mentioning Hanoi Rocks. We're on the same labels as some of their reissues, and we're real stoked about that, by the way.
Yeah, I interviewed Michael Monroe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I can't remember if it was earlier this year or at the end of last year, but it was a really good time. Michael Monroe's a great guy.
Fuck yeah, awesome. Yeah, I'm hoping that Spart Records does some kind of festival in Finland, and they put Hanoi Rocks and us on there, so we could just go see. Well, if they would even do a show, whatever, that would be fucking awesome.
Yeah,
so.
that would be. You guys would definitely fit the bill. I feel like you guys are almost like the yin to their yang in a way. Like Hanoi Rocks is like very like down and dirty rock and roll party vibe, and you guys almost kind of like have the thinking man sort of aspect behind it. So I think it would be almost like, I think I would almost call Yakuza to be Hanoi Rocks' classy brother.
Well, that's nice of you to say. They are down and dirty rock and roll, but they got their own thing going on. They always have, and that's very, it's appreciated for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's like very cliche to ask like what your inspirations are and everything like that, but having both, a rock and roll voice and a really experimental metal voice, but also, playing on the saxophone. Are you like classically trained in jazz and you kind of discovered rock later on in a way? Like how did like your musical journey sort of be in a way?
No, I was a rock and a metal fan first. I played the saxophone when I was a kid, like from the time I was like 8 till I was about 15. school band and things like that. But this was the 1980s by the time I was a teenager. And there weren't a whole lot of saxophone players out there that I could look up to besides, say, like the Clarence Clemens or the guy that played sax on the Duran Duran song Rio or something. I don't even know the guy's name. But yeah. And like I just said, it was the 80s, so there was a whole lot of awesome metal going on. So I was way more into that. It wasn't until a little later where I worked at a record store and I got exposed to some jazz and improvisational music that I had never heard before. And that kind of like opened my eyes to a whole lot of things. And I went back to the saxophone when I was 21, and I'm 51 now. So I've been playing the horn for about 30 years. So yeah, metal first, then jazz. Just like peanut butter and chocolate. No, I'm just kidding. Definitely not trying to bring those two worlds together. Not even close.
But do you do both tenor and alto sax in a way, or do you stick to one form of it?
No, I play on the record. I play soprano. I play tenor. I play baritone. I play alto in other bands. I play B flat clarinet. I play bass clarinet. I've done it in the past on Yakuza records. A little bit of flute if I can get my hands on one. Whatever the world is calling for at that particular time, I'll play. But mostly it's the soprano and the tenor. Those are the two main ones I play in Yakuza.
And do you almost like decide, like, because you mentioned you start off with the riffs, is it almost like the riffs sort of pave the way for like knowing if you're gonna, kind of like knowing what key in this you're playing in, and if you're gonna do soprano or alto or tenor, something like that? Like
sometimes, not really key. It kind of depends on just what's happening with those said riffs and how it's kind of moving, and I'll pick up a couple different horns and just try just see how it sounds, and just it's all I guess it's all my ear. I'll be like, yeah, this kind of works, but the soprano works here, and I'll do it here, and then the tenor works here, and the baritone works here, that kind of thing. So
yeah. I wanted to talk about like the anniversary of some certain albums in a way. Last year did mark 20 years of the Way of the Dead, which I know was your debut on Century Media, and and being that was 20 years, how would you say like your evolution evolved going from Way of the Dead to Samsara and so on and so forth?
Way of the Dead was the OG lineup. We all the whole band had a different approach to how we did things. It was still rhythm and riffs based, but we had two different characters in the band, two guys named Eric, and and it was, as a band, we were young. I was still figuring out where and how to fit the saxophone into the mix, and with each record I felt a little more confident on how that works, and vocally, I was trying different things over the years. I don't know, just experience. I just look at it as like it's all experience, and it's just gotten to the point now where we've done it enough times, feeling pretty comfortable with just trying things and not worrying too much about anything else.
Did you guys fit in a lot? Because people, I would always call you, like a very experimental rock band. You can't be pigeonholed really in one category. But like, I just recently saw a Fishbone live, and like they had like a whole ska show dedicated to that. Was that at all maybe in a way your niche? Was like when you were performing in Chicago in '99? Was that maybe sort of like a scene you were involved with?
Nope.
Oh, really?
No. We all came from, I was kind of out of bands at the time, and I wasn't fronting a band. I was playing with a couple bands, but I wouldn't say I was even a member. I was just like the sax guy that was sitting with them every once in a while. The other three came from the heavy music world, but everybody wanted to do something different. And when I was the last one to join the original lineup, and one of our first practices, they had asked me like, hey, you play any other instruments? And I was like, nah, I play guitar, I play bass, but I also play saxophone. And they all literally all of them were like, they encouraged me to bring it down. They're like, yes, we want something like that, in this band. I was like, all right, let's try it.
So you weren't even expecting to be bringing the sax into Yakuza. It would almost kind of like happen by accident.
No.
If you didn't mention that, it wouldn't have happened.
No, nope, I doubt it. I was actually thinking. I was at the time. I was like, kind of dip my toes in the heavy world as well as like jazz and improvisational world, and I just kind of figured I would just keep those worlds separate. And well, I guess that didn't work out like that.
Yeah.
It didn't work out like that. Yeah.
It made you guys stand out. I remember, like, when you guys started in the Chicago scene, especially at the time that you did, like, Disturbed was getting their foot in the door. I know that, but like, Ministry had a legacy of its own down there, and of course, the legacy with the Smashing Pumpkins as well. What was the sort of scene like for Yakuza when you guys were starting off in Chicago?
We were doing like a lot. We were involved in like pretty much the metal scene, kind of out of the gate, and locally it was okay. People were respond all right. Mostly musicians were cool with it. There were some folks out there that maybe didn't care for what we were trying to do in the metal world, but yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's where it kind of started. So
yeah, because I going back to what I said, I think people see a saxophone player on stage, they kind of maybe jump to the conclusion that it's a ska band in a way, but you guys definitely don't have that sort of thing going for you.
No interest in ska music at all. Or playing it for that matter.
Yeah, fair enough. I also want to point out that last year was the 10-year anniversary of your previous album, Bail, and sorry about that, but
it's all good.
Yeah, but what was the mind? Was that known that was going to be the last Yakuza album for like a foreseeable future till we get this new one now in a way?
No, I don't think so. Some things. Life just happened for a bunch of us, a couple of marriages, a child,
That'll do it.
Yeah, I'll do it. A little thing called a pandemic. Have you heard of this thing? Yeah. That kind of.
I've been trying to forget about it, but God damn it, you brought it back.
I promised myself I would not bring it up in any interviews, and look what I did. I brought it up already.
It's impossible.
This thing's just, it was definitely not planned. We never broke up. We never stopped doing stuff. We just didn't do it as, we didn't do it as often as we normally did in the past, so,
yeah.
10 years goes by like this sometimes.
Definitely does. I've always said, by the way, that the pandemic is like the Metallica of the news. It's just like you always hear about Metallica in every interview or every metal related thing. The pandemic is like that for the news. It always references the pandemic, even if it has nothing to do with it. It's caught up. So don't feel bad about bringing it up in an interview. Because if you don't bring it up, probably an interviewer is going to bring it up. So
sure, totally.
Yep.
Totally.
When it comes to writing, do you prefer to write or come up with ideas when you're in the company of your bandmates, or is it easier to come up with ideas when you're more alone in isolation and there's really nothing between you and your instrument?
For the sax stuff, I try to do that with the band. Vocally, it's just easier. We're in a small little practice space with a shitty PA. There's not a lot of room in there for some dynamics, vocally, so I kind of have to work on it by myself, so I can have some headphones and just be able to get in there. If I want to do anything that's sort of breathy or, I won't be able to hear it otherwise. That's just the reality of, modern practice facilities,
Yeah.
But yeah, with the sax stuff, I try, we all like to be in the room regardless, because I might throw my 2 cents in on how long a certain part is, or like, hey, can we shorten this up like 4 bars? I have this idea, or lengthen it even longer. I'm going to try this thing really quick. And they're like, oh yeah, that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, we like to do as much as we can together. But like I said, vocally, I think it's just easier if I just work on it on my own.
Yeah, and you've also played with a variety of different bands too with your sound as well. Like I know that you toured with Mastodon, but you also toured with Lacuna Coil, I believe, which is my favorite band. But I know.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. I have their logo tattooed for a reason.
Oh shit! Wow, nice.
Yep. But you've also toured.
Commitment.
Yep. But you've also toured with Opeth and the Dillinger Escape Plan. Have you noticed different reactions to your music depending on the live, depending on what tours you've been on?
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's been Pretty positive overall. I mean, there was a couple of shows here and there. I remember we played New York with Triptychon, and some guy was heckling us through one of our quietest songs, like real hardcore. And we didn't let it bother us. We just played, whatever.
I apologize on behalf of New York.
Oh, it's fine. It's things. A similar thing happened here in Chicago one time, so it's and we're kind of used to it.
It's that hardcore blood,
Yeah. No, I hear you. That's cool. I mean, actually, it was funny because we didn't do anything about it, and it actually made Tom Warrior real happy that we didn't. Like, they just forged on. You guys just forged on through that. He was so upset that someone was like heckling us during one of our like really quiet, mellow songs. He was like, we were on, and that was cool. Gave us some props. I was like, all right, thanks. Like I said, I was with Triptychon. But otherwise it's been mostly positive, honestly. I mean, looking back, I can't think of too many shows where I was like, oh, this fucking sucks, or this crowd sucks.
Yeah, I mean, being heckled in your slowest song, one of the times when I saw Lacuna Coil, they were playing like their very slow ballad song, and it was like a sad song. It was dedicated to somebody who passed away, and for some reason they thought it would be a good idea to just open the pit up during that song and make it like the most aggressive pit ever. Like, I tried to get up close just to get a couple shots, and I'm getting pushed like I'm at a fucking Sick of It All concert. So,
holy shit!
Yeah, it happens to the best of us.
I was gonna say, this was in New York.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Hardcore. That's hardcore.
Yeah. It's hardcore, and it's all that good pizza we get.
There you go.
Which, by the way, sorry, I'm going to start a Chicago war. We have the better pizza. I'm just going to say that right now.
Oh, you can yak on about it all day long. We're never going to agree on that. So
fair enough.
You just haven't been to the right places.
Yeah. Yep. Let's move on. But when it comes to like more again like that alone in isolation thing in a way, but you also come up with ideas with your band and stuff. Does it like start off in a way like in a jam session? Does it almost kind of happen like a happy accident in a way?
It has. It's not. Yeah, it has happened. Yes.
Yeah. Any specific examples?
I really shouldn't have eaten this weed gummy before I got on this call with you because my brain is literally fried.
No, it's all good.
Not smart. I'm going to make a note to not do that again. I can't think of anyone that sticks out. That was like a happy accident from jamming.
Yeah.
I can't even make something up for you. I wish I could, but no, I don't have anything.
No, it's all good. It's all good. You'll come back, comment on the video if you can remember.
Right. Yeah. You're like, you fucking stoner. What the hell is wrong with you? I'm like, I know. I'm sorry.
I mean, come on. Believe me, I've interviewed people way like you. I'll tell you when I stopped rolling some of my most stoned interviews that were just awesome. Then they went
love it.
And they went viral because of it. So this interview might end up getting a shit ton of views. So.
Oh, great.
Yeah. But the final question I wanted to ask you, just to promote the new album, with your news, with the singles that we heard so far, such as Psychic and whatnot, can this maybe serve as like a good representation of what the entirety of Sutra is going to sound like, or is that just the tip of the iceberg of what's to come?
Yes and no. Alice was the first single, and it's really guitar driven, and Psychic Malaise has some pretty heavy horn parts to it. But overall, we don't think of our music ever as like one single here and one single there, or singles at all. It's like it's a journey from beginning to end. So there's going to be peaks and valleys. There's going to be a lot going on. It's a good teaser, as I like to say. But I think there's a lot more there than just that. We had to put it to a vote to decide what songs to put out there. To represent, but not give away everything. You know what I mean? So, it's just a taste. There's more there than just those.
Picking a single has got to be the hardest part, because I feel like you want to like hit the ground running and really represent how good the album is going to be, but at the same time, you don't want to give too much away. So you might want to put something a little more underwhelming as the first single, and I'd imagine that's always one of the most difficult parts.
Yep. That's Alice. Actually, I think everyone wanted that but me. And I was like, but I would, we're a democracy, so that's completely okay. I wasn't like, absolutely not. Like there's none of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But we're like, hey, should we put this song? Should we do this song? And they're like, how about we start with Alice? And I was like, and then the other three were like, yes. And I was like, all right, cool, let's do it. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
It is tough. It's tough to make that decision. Like I said, especially since we don't think of, the record is almost, we don't even think of the songs. It's just like one big piece, and maybe we should have just released it as one track. That would really bum people out, maybe, or maybe not. I don't know.
When I got this album, I've noticed that every song like led to another perfectly. It wasn't like it faded away and then you wanted the next song. It all flowed so nicely. So I feel like you could almost market this as just like one big, I don't know how many minutes the whole album is, but like one big like 40-minute song or something like that.
Yeah. No, it was discussed. I think someone on the engineering side was probably like, oh, hell no, do not do that. And we're like, oh, don't tell us what to do. We'll just do what we want. But yeah, at the end of the day, we're like, no, let's just break it up. But yes, Jim Staffel, our drummer, is really good about that kind of stuff, about having the transitions be where they're at, so we at least talk about it and, we like it to flow. We like the flow of it all, just into each other. It's like our sets too, same thing.
Of course.
Like live sets.
So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time today, for such an awesome chat to end the week.
Thank you very much. Again, sorry I was a little tongue-tied. And
when they
I'm going to not.
When they ramble, it's perfect, all right? So believe me, nothing is worse than being on your 7th question and only being like a minute and a half into the interview. So I appreciate it.
Okay.
So...
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Is there just anything else with Yakuza you'd like to promote in terms of tours or new music with the release of Sutra?
We got a couple of shows coming up, just locally, playing with Yob in June. Looking forward to that. They're good buds of ours. And we're doing a festival out at a brewery in Rockford, or Quad City, called Wake Brewing, and Indians playing, and Sanford Parker's got a new band called Black Cross Hotel, and they're playing. And then we'll see where life takes us from there. So
yeah, I saw that Yob announcement, and I hope that lineup comes to New York.
Yeah, not the three of us, just Kevin and Yob, I think, are going to be there. We're just doing the one show in Chicago. But,
yeah. We did get Paul Bearer, which is a nice addition too.
Paul Bearer's doing that one. Yeah, cool. They're great too. So fuck yeah.
If you guys were on that bill too, it would be a dream lineup. I would pick up smoking weed again just for that one show.
Oh, sweet. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're nice.
Everybody, we are here with Yakuza. Be sure to check out Sutra. This is Alex from Heavy New York, and we will see you next time.